Hi, welcome back to Linux. Today we're going to look at user and group basics on our Linux system. So first, following the lab, Unit 3 lab, we'll go ahead and start up our virtual machines or boot your USB or just log into your Linux box. And we're going to add a new group. And the group add-g 200 employees. The -g on groupadd, that's our new command, tells it to give it a group ID of 200. Well, when we're talking about group IDs, or the GID, what are we actually talking about here? If we type cat etc group, then each one of the groups actually has a number associated with it. So we have that 120, 123, etc. And you can see all the little numbers with each of the groups. We're going to create a new one, and we're going to call it employees. So group add G200 employees. Normally, I would not specify the group ID. I would just let that happen automatically. It would automatically give me a group ID. If we look on the screen, you can see it would start at 1003, so I just keep building from there. But now we're going to do this. Now, in order to run an administrative command like group add, I need to type sudo group add -g 200 employees. Now I've just added the group. If I go back over and I cat etc group, then we see employees there. If I tail etc group, then I see just the last 10 lines. If I type tail -15 etc group, we see the last 15 lines. So we can see how tail works and how cat works too. Next step down, we're going to look at creating a couple more groups. That's 201 and 202, sales and training. So I'm going to pop up here, and we'll create 201 sales and 202 training. So now we've made the sales and training groups with their respective GIDs. Over here, we're going to see what it takes to create a new user. So the new user is, we're going to make one called Sultan, password network 1, full name Sultan Al Hosani, default group will be Sultan, which is actually automatic when we create a user account. Other groups, sales and employees, the home directory is going to be home Sultan, login shell is bin bash, the user ID will be 600, and the account never expires. This is the command that they're recommending for us, the useradd -m. That means make the home directory if it does not already exist. -c is a comment. The comments are usually used for your full name, for the user. The -G represents the subgroups or the minor groups that we're going to be a part of, sales and employees. The -u is the user ID 600. The -s is the shell that we're going to use, in this case bin bash, and Sultan is the person's name. We set the password by then typing passwd Sultan. Now we will need to type this all sudoed, so we can't be a regular user object as represented here. We will need to type sudo for each one of these commands. So I'll go ahead and copy this command over, pop it in the window, and I had a carriage return in there, so it gave me an error. Type sudo useradd, get rid of that long hyphen, get rid of the special quotes there, long hyphen again, G sales, comma, employees. You can see that you can add extra groups by using comma. The -u 600, I think it was a dash shell, a bin bash, and Sultan, I think, was all that was it. Let me see. Yeah, that's it. So now I'll run this command, and I'll tail etc password, and we'll see that Sultan Al Hosani has been created with a user ID of 600. The primary GID of the user is 1003 because it did go in sequence. We could have changed that too. And then we have the name, the home, and the shell. Next, let's set the password. So sudo passwd Sultan, and we're going to set it to network 1, right? Let's see. NETTWERK1. Capital NETTWERK1. Capital NETTWERK1. There. So now we've set the password. That's creating a user and setting the password. If we go back over and look at it, you'll see Sultan's there. And if we tail etc shadow, you'll see sudo tail etc shadow. Then you'll see Sultan's password right here. Yeah, that password looks a little bit longer than network 1. The reason for that is this is a salted MD5 password, so it's MD5 sum of the password, and it's salted for the Linux system. So it's going to be huge, and it comes out as this encrypted format. So it runs it through a couple of different things and gives us this weird encrypted format there. And you can see my password there, which is specific for this Unix system right here, this Linux system, sorry. And you can see the student password, which is password. It's specific for this system right here. Back over to the lab, we want to create another user account, in this case Hussein, password network1, default group Hussein, the other group sales and employees, home Hussein bin bash, and it needs an expiration of January 10th, 2017. So let's do that one. I'm going to up arrow until I get to my last useradd command. The person's name is Hussein. The full name of the employee is not listed, so we don't know the person's name, so I can't put a comment. Sales and employees is the same. So I'll take out the comment because I don't know the person's name. Sales and employees the same. We are not setting the user ID right here. We're not saying the number there. We are saying bin bash, and we are creating a home directory. The default group is the default group, so we don't need to change that. And the expiration is the new one, and that's January 10th, 2017. And unless I forgot, the way you do that is you type -E 2017, was it January 10th? January 10? Yes, January 10. And I believe that's the order. So you do the year, the month, then the day. I believe that's right. We'll find out. Okay, we just created Hussein, so apparently it worked. Now I'll sudo passwd for Hussein. The password is network1. I think it's with 1 T and a proper O. So network1, network1. Okay, got that. Now if I go back over and tail etc shadow, I have to sudo that, then we'll see this entry at the end of Hussein's account. We don't have that entry at the end of Sultan's account. We see those last 2 colons there. Hussein does have that entry. That right there tells you when the expiration is for Hussein's account. Now, if you forget how to do the expiration or any of the options, you can always type man useradd and walk through. I'll look for expire date, and it says that it needs a dash in there. So let me see if I need to put a dash in there. Let me go through, and instead of a user add, I'll use a user mod, and I'll use a -A for append anything. And I'll put dashes in here. We'll see if the dashes make any difference. Now I'll go back and I'll look at tail etc shadow. All right, there we go. Now we've got the right expiration. So that expiration of 17176, that is going to be the number that's going to represent the expiration for Hussein. The first time I typed it, right here, I just did the date without any dashes in it. It didn't really like that. It put that down as if I knew what the Unix date was for 2017-0110. When I put the dashes in it, then it gives us the proper representation on the system right there of 17176. So that account will now expire properly. We can also look at this inside of our administration Tools, we go over to System Settings, Users and Groups. We'll see we've created a couple of new accounts, even though I don't see Sultan popping up there. Hussein, right there. And where is Sultan? Strange. Let's see if I see his group. I see his group. Didn't overwrite him, did I? Well, so I'm missing him. Strange. All right. Pop out of here. So we have Sultan, we have Hussein, and I did a user mod. We want to add Sultan to the training group, so we're going to do a user mod. Whenever we use user mod, we want to put a -a on there unless we're changing something. If we're adding or appending something, so we're adding a certain feature, we will use -a. -G for, I believe it was training, to Hussein or Sultan. Let me see which one it was. It is Sultan. So we'll try that. Oh, sudo that command. There we go. I could not access, I couldn't lock etc passwd because I was my user object. I was not sudoed over. Now that I did that, if we check, if we grep etc group and let's look for Sultan, then we should see that he's now part of training, he's part of sales, and part of employees. Now over here, we want to add the name Sultan Al Hosani as a comment in Hussein's account. The way we do that is sudo usermod -a -c that quote to Hussein. Nice. Usermod -a -c Sultan Al Hosani to Hussein. And obviously I made a mistake on that one. Possibly the mistake is I'm appending. Let's see if I just rewrite that. Yeah. So the mistake there was I said to append this comment, but there was no comment. So now if I try it again, yeah, it's not liking that. So when I do a usermod -c, I'm not using the -a on there. I'm just using the -c. So that should have changed that. Let's tail etc passwd. We can see Hussein's in there. It now has his full name in the right place. We have his user ID that was automatically set and his group ID that was automatically set. And I believe that is all that we have. Let's see, the basic information about user accounts. We did that for password. Encrypted passwords, that was etc shadow. The last 10 lines was tail. We need to do some things here. We're going to check for logged in users. So at this point, we're going to log in as another user and type who am I. So here I'm going to open up a terminal, su space dash space Hussein. Password was network1. Type who am I. You see I'm Hussein. If I go back over here and type who am I, you can see that it's my user account. If we type users, we'll see what users are logged into the system. ID, it'll show me my ID. We can see my user ID, my group ID, the groups that I'm part of. And then who will give me information about who's logged into the box. I don't have any remote connections right now, so who only shows me that I'm logged into the system. No one else is logged in. If I did go through the process and I did the TTY3 by pressing Control-Alt F3, then I would be logging in as another user to the local system. But I did not choose to do that because I don't want to lose my video. And then we have the who am I, the W, etc. The last command is W. You'll see it gives us the same information as who, but strangely, W, even though it's shorter, gives us longer information. So we can see what each user is running. And that's it. Those are all the commands in this lab. I hope this helps, and I hope that you have a great day.